Welcome to Exit Frag. I'm Zeph. I'm joined by my co-host Esports Andy. Today we are going to be doing the VCT Pacific Power Rankings tier list, whatever you want to call it, for the upcoming Stage 1. Andy, lead us into this because I'm not super experienced with Pacific. It's like at awful times for me. So I apologize in advance to the Pacific viewers if I'm not like super knowledgeable.
So this one's going to maybe shock people if they didn't really watch the games or anything, but Boom's a B tier team.
Yeah.
So the two teams they lost to is a map 3 against T1
Okay.
and
Super.
then a map 3 against Nongshim, who at that time had not lost, or they lost against DRX in a map 3. Like that, Boom is a really good team. They have a lot of good pieces. Berserk's was killing it. Oh, Dawson 9. I didn't really know much about him before, but he had like some pretty good clutches. Was a really solid smokes player. I think they'll beat a lot of the lower teams. Do I think they can really go on a run? No, I don't think so. I still think that they'll make like playoffs and everything, and I think they'll have a good chance to retain their spot for next year. I think they actually have like one of the best, other than like Nongshim and G2 and stuff, but they have like one of the best chances to remain.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I watched any Boom, but from the sounds of it, it sounds like they're really like solid team that just got like unlucky with their schedule.
Yeah, you play T1 first and you push them to a map 3. I can't remember exactly how it ended. It was on Fracture 13-7, and T1 just kind of runs away with it at the very end. But up until like then, it was a pretty close match.
Honestly,
Yeah, and they were already trying out the Tejo like right
that's
away. So
that's not like super bad considering that they're coming from like Ascensions anyways.
yeah, yeah,
So,
and they almost ascended just naturally from like having the most insane grand finals until this last grand finals
right.
against Nongshim.
True. All right. Next up is DFM. I think from what I hear, this is just like Meiy trying to carry like a carcass
Yeah,
of a
well,
team over the finish line.
and people, some people might get mad because I'm gonna say that the team that they eliminated is gonna be end up higher than them. But like DFM, yeah, it's just the Meiy show right now. They're better than like the lower teams. Like they're not like an absolute low tier team. I think they're on like the higher C range. That being said, they didn't look that much more like exciting than they have in like years past. That being said, Meiy is Meiy, and that he's like killing it. I just don't see how this team will really make waves against most of the teams.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like DFM has never been like super consistent, so expecting like one player to like change everything is tough. I don't think that they're doing any like huge roster changes, but
They should.
they did beat Paper Rex, so maybe there is something
And,
brewing there. I'm not sure, but for now,
and they
I
brought two good South Korean players in. It might be annoying, but like the Japanese region is struggling. The tier 2 hasn't really like been able to do much in the Ascension tournaments.
mhm.
So, like as much as you want to be a full Japanese team, it was probably a good idea to bring in two good tier 2 South Korean talents. And as the season goes on, I think this team could get better. They have some potential with that, but I don't see it though.
Is this C assessment good?
Yeah, C assessment
Okay.
good.
DRX. I've seen quite a bit of them. I think they're, obviously they're a really good team. For me, it's like, yeah, it has to be S tier. I mean, Termi, even though I think he's like the reason why they keep getting like fourth place internationally or below, I still think that they're going to be able to dominate most of these teams throughout the regular season. The calling's not bad. Mako's been doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, everyone's stepping up on this team. I really, gosh, who's their duelist? I forget the Hyunmin. There you go.
Yen.
I really like Hyunmin. He's showing a lot of promise.
And also, I like that they like understood the meta immediately.
Mm.
Like, Freeing is just a Teho player now,
Yeah, that's true. He's the
and
best tail player in the world.
yeah, like so this team has so much promise, and I actually think, and we'll go, we'll talk about it later. But I mean, they're like seriously good.
Yeah. Okay. Gen.G. I seen a little bit of Gen.G, and I think that them not having Meteor has really hurt them.
I think yeah, Meteor literally won the MVP like right after he like leaves. Um, yeah, I didn't get to watch this team too much, and they did push T1 to a map 5.
Mm.
That being said, I just would have to see more from like Karon has to like return and be complete. Like he has to continue his like rookie of the year like status season. He needs to continue it for this team because he kind of needs to fill the void that's happening for this team now that losing like some key players.
And to be fair, they still placed third in VCT Pacific,
Mhm.
so they're still quite good. I think maybe my me putting him in B tier was probably like a understatement.
I
Here,
think they're like a lower A.
yeah, I think probably like low A, just because like obviously we're still gonna have to like account for T1.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I think just like they're playing Foxy 9, right?
Yeah,
Yes, I don't know.
Foxy Nine and Yummin
I've never
are like the
been a
two.
big fan of Yoman or Foxy 9 or their play styles. It's just I don't know. It just never works out for them on the teams they're on, and I think they're gonna continue to struggle with those two players while Texture, Munchkin, and Karon are like keep carrying this team. All right, Andy, this is your team, Global Esports. Let
I
me know.
still have faith in them. Um, I thought they could have beat Talon, and I think if they beat Talon, everything would have been different.
Wow.
Because then, yeah, I think the issue with Global has always kind of been that their map pools are never that great. They have like one good map, and they'll push like a good team to a map 3, but then they'll lose the other two maps like pretty handily.
Yeah.
Um, it is a bummer because just like how I was hyped up on like Gentle or Giant X back for
Mm.
like the EMEA, I was hyped up for Global, and I think they underperformed. So I would have to put them around like the same level as DFM.
Okay. Yeah, that's they did kind of based on like tournament performance, they probably are like under DFM.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because like in their match, like they played against each other. Um, DFM just goes on a big run on Abyss, and then like on Split they go to overtime. Like they're kind of the same level to me.
I see. All right, let's talk about Nongshim Redforce.
The
I
neutral
was
team.
pretty excited about this team. Obviously, I couldn't watch their games live, but they did end up going on a pretty nice run in the lower bracket. They beat Boom, who were their rivals. They beat RRQ, which has always been like a middle of the pack team, and then they almost beat Talon. So
It,
I'm pretty optimistic about them as an Ascension team. They're already playing a lot better than the other Ascension teams in like the different regions.
and like one of the cool things is that they almost beat DRX, and they could have beat them in 2 maps because on Lotus, they get 11-11, and then they lose the last 2 rounds, and then on Pearl they win 13-6. I think there's a lot of promise. Like everyone already knew that there's a lot of promise, but like especially that they also understood the meta. They were using Vice. I think they used Teho like once or twice.
Mm.
I'd have to look back. I don't know if they did that, but I think this team is good. I think they're going to probably be like the fifth team right now. I think it's unlucky because I think the top four teams are like pretty, or man, I don't know, because they could be the fourth team right now.
That's true.
Because if like we'll talk about Talon in a second, but like I definitely think they're low A, high B.
Yeah. Um, I think that for me, I think they're low B, and it's mostly because like a lot of these teams, like I'm just speaking generally speaking because I obviously didn't watch too much Pacific, but Ascension teams always have like this like, oh, like they should be like really good and then they're not. But Nongshim is kind of different because they have like played some of the middle pack teams in VCT Pacific and they were able to beat them. Like you said, like they beat DRX on one map and almost were able to win the other one. I think the regular season will benefit them quite a bit, just by the fact that they're going to have to play a variety of teams. They're going to have to play 5 matches, and I find it really difficult to believe that in 5 matches they won't be at minimum be able to qualify for playoffs.
Mm.
So yeah, I think I have them like top of B.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, going to everybody's favorite Pacific team, Paper Rex.
I don't know.
Ah, I think I think they're low B.
And this people will say this is insane of me. I have them as fourth.
Fourth?
Yeah, because like regionally they're gonna continue. I just don't see them not like performing regionally still. And like they do have a harder. They're in Group Alpha with DRX and Gen.G, but and then the team that eliminated them, DFM. But I think that was just like what they got eliminated really early in kickoff or lock in back in 2023. I think it's just sometimes they're just bad. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
and I
That's
think they
true.
just were bad, like in kickoff. And this is my last time giving them the benefit of the doubt. If like
Yeah,
this is
yeah, yeah. We discussed this on last week's podcast with Forefather, and just like the amount of times that this core has had the chance to like, at least not even place globally because they're good globally too, but them being eliminated in kickoff is kind of like shocking, and it has put the org on notice because they did sign Patman,
mm,
and they are looking to make a change if they underperform again. That being said, Paper Rex having like a bad tournament usually is something that happens every once in a while. So I wouldn't put it past them to just have like just not played well. But to lose to DFM, that's tough.
like, and that's the thing. They're all the way from like low A tier to low C tier.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like the hard part. And but the thing about them is I just would have to give them the benefit of the doubt on the high end.
Okay.
And this is the last chance. This if they don't fail, I will never have faith in Paper X again.
Okay. That makes sense to me. All right, let's talk about RRQ. Every single year I have to hear from these VCT casters that it's RRQ's year. They're finally gonna win it, and then they just do the thing that they've been doing for the longest time. They win one match, and then they get eliminated the next.
And all four of the matches they played went to map threes.
Yeah, yeah, just typical RRQ stuff.
Yeah, so there's like just this team is like the spirit of the Pacific League. like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they are just the like middle line. If you can beat them, you're like in B or higher tier. If you lose to them, you're in C or lower.
Okay. Well, I think that gives us an idea of like where to put it. I think top of C or bottom of
Yeah, they're literally that
B.
line.
Like this line right here.
They are the
Okay.
divider.
Okay.
but
Well,
yeah.
For those who
Well,
screenshot it, this is where we would put him. But let's just put him top of C.
yeah, let's put him in C.
Okay, let's do T1. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, they're S tier. They're gonna beat some of the middle of the team. They're gonna beat the middle of the pack teams and the lower teams. But they will struggle against like Gen.G. I mean, we saw it in the grand final. They even struggle with them, and they're gonna struggle against DRX. I mean, they're just kind of like all the Korean teams are just rivals with each other at this point. Like they're all like really good teams that can make top three. It's just they're interchangeable at this point.
yeah, it's just kind of hard to say because what was it like? DRX won like every match in a row forever, and then they lost in the round 3 Swiss stages to T1 for the first time. Like T1 was going on a fairy tale run. Do I think they'll make another grand finals? No, I do not think they'll make another international grand finals,
Mm.
and I don't think they'll win the league. I think DRX is a better, well-rounded team, is more in line with the meta long term. I just like DRX better than T1.
And while I don't think that about T1, I think that they're going to pick up more as the year goes along. I do feel like you kind of had the same opinion as I did last video with Vitality. So I will not disrespect that, but I do still think that they're S tier or high A.
Yeah.
All right, Talon. Talon have recently made change to their roster. They brought in Tai and they brought in Killua. I'm quite excited about this team. Even if the changes are negative at the end of the day, I'm still glad that they had the guts to like make a roster move and try to go for a higher placement than like fourth place. Because so many times we see like just teams like complacent about their placement in VCT and they just want to stay there, but not necessarily like Talon. Like they made the change that they needed to make, and even though it's Frost's like last run, I'm still excited to see what this team's gonna cook up.
I think by doing this change now, I think it kind of really shows that as Frost is saying, like, oh, this is my last run, we're going to really go hard at it. It feels like the team's more like, oh, yeah, like the org is like, okay, but we're regearing for next year. Like, we want to build this team up, like, strong with this all-tie team, get more experience, maybe make champs at the end, get these guys some experience. And then next year, we're going to be, like, incredible.
I see.
But that doesn't work with, like, Frost only being here for this year.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know who they bring in for the head coaching position next year, but I do still think that Frost is a pretty good coach. I mean, it takes a lot to keep your team consistently in the top 4 of a region, and I feel like he's done a pretty good job.
And like for me, I'm like thinking like the players in the team is going to play like they're trying to make every international, they're going to play like competitors. Yeah. I think the org has really signaled that, yeah, we're going to be Thai. Like no more
international
NA influence.
Yeah. No,
like,
I agree. I think it's a good thing too. I mean, I'm always advocating for like teams from a certain country to have, or a certain region to have players from their region. And I like the change to a full Thai team, full Thai comms. Yeah, I've nothing too negative to say. That being said,
I think
I would have them in the position that they're where Paper Rex is, but because of the roster change, I am going to be cautious and just put them like a high B.
I would say like all those B teams are kind of interchangeable just because Nongshim and Boom are building more with the current roster rather than Talon having to kind of figure out. But I think the talent for Talon is better.
Yeah. Okay. Team Secret. Oh man, it pains me to say that this team is not good.
Yeah, this is like the like worst version of like RRQ.
Yeah.
Like they're just like boring. Like that's kind of mean to say because like I do like this like I like the Philippines and I like this like I hope that they do good. It's just yeah, this is time like after the season, kind of let's get rid of the old guy. Let's
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of figure out
R.I.P. Jesse
the new
Vash. Yeah.
yeah, they just need to after this make like a
A significant change.
yeah, like you keep going around and seeing what Filipino talent you can bring up.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're a D tier team right
but
now.
I also think that if there's any org that has the excuse to like find players that are not Filipino, it probably is Team Secret because ever since franchising started, they have really, really tried to keep the team like mostly Filipino or like
Mm.
at least like 4/5 of it Filipino. And there's just a point where you just need to start winning. So if there was any team that I think gets like the pass of like getting teams outside of their country or their region, I think it's Team Secret. That being said, I don't think they're gonna do much during stage one. I think maybe there's an upset here, like one upset throughout the tournament or two at most. But I think I have them in the D tier.
Mm.
All right, Zeta Division, much of the same story in my opinion, just like not great things going on here. Like full Japanese team like every time, but it just hurts to see this team like be like so bad, especially if you don't have context from the 22 season, like that Cinderella run at Reykjavik, I feel like is still in a lot of people's mind, and it's just like that's the best I've ever seen Zeta Division be, and it's tough to think like they're never going to be that good again.
Yeah, and then they already like they parted ways with their head coach, and
Mm-hmm.
then they brought a like a Japanese head coach, which
It,
I like
it
that they're doing it, but Japan right now just isn't that like Japan's never really that strong of an FPS region,
no,
and it's a bummer because I would really love Zeta and or DFM to do really good, but I feel like these teams are going to end up picking up like two South Korean players or something like that, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. It's just it's tough watching Zeta Division like be so like bad so throughout so many years, and it's not even like they're getting better. It's like I feel like they're just slowly getting worse and worse.
Well, and I think they're slowly losing all their like best talent now. Like they're slowly like retiring.
Yeah, like
um,
Laz retiring really hurt this team.
yeah, and I think like Depp's gonna like end up retiring or something, or like you know, it's
Yeah,
gonna be another like core Zeta division player that's gonna be like, you know what, actually, this isn't worth it.
yeah, yeah. I think I have him also D tier, pretty interchangeable with Secret. Don't really have too much high hopes for them.
Yeah.
All right, anything you would like to change here, or is this
What?
looking
No, I
good?
think this is pretty good. I think the S tier, like this, it's kind of being run by South Korea right now. um, I'd love to see. I hope Talon does perform and do really good. That'd be really cool. But yeah, it's South Korean league.
Yeah, I'm hoping B tiers go up next split. But for now, I think this is pretty solid. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Did we cook? Are we overcooking on some of these teams? Did you hate it? Let us know in the comments below. Hit us with a like or a dislike, and we will see you next week because this is the end of content for the week. So for Esports Andy, I'm Zeph. We'll see you next week.